Hello there everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Captain Louis Lobo and today we're going to talk about different ways in how you can become a pilot in India. The first being the conventional method. Now for a conventional method, the basic requirement is to be 12th standard maths and physics pass. It's not compulsory for you to have 55% minimum. It's just a passing certificate that is required. But yes, some airlines may prefer you to have at least a minimum of 60%, for example Air India or Vistara. Now in conventional method, after you're done with 12th standard, now let's say a lot of people may not be done with science stream with maths and physics. For those people, they can always opt for NIOS, that is National Institute of Open Schooling. From there you can attempt only maths and physics exam. Then once you're done with that, you should focus on getting your medicals done. The medical test required for commercial pilot license is class 1 medical test. Now to get a class 1 medical test, initially you will have to get done with your class 2 medical test. After class 2, only then you can get done with your class 1 medical. I would always suggest to get done with your medical test before you start financing for your flying training or your ground training, because without medical, even if you have a lot of money, this stream is basically pointless. And the earlier medical you get done, it's actually better for you, because if there is anything that can be rectified, you can get it cleared off. Now the best person to ask about tests is always a class 1 or a class 2 medical doctor, because they are highly qualified and they have the rights to clear you for your medical tests. Then let's assume you're done with your medical test, then you should get started with your ground training. In your ground training, you will be having subjects air navigation, meteorology, technical general, air regulation, RTR, and even technical specific. Now technical specific depends from aircraft to aircraft. It's like if you are about to fly a Cessna 152, then you will have to attempt a technical specific for Cessna 172 or 152, or even for a multi-engine aircraft. Now let's assume you are done with all of this. Then next step is to go on with your flying training. For flying training, you can get started with any flying clubs in India. Now even these exams, it can vary depending if you're planning to do it from India or you're planning to do it from abroad. If you're planning to do it from abroad, you may not be required to give a technical exam, but yes, it is required to know technical, because airlines do prefer you to have a technical knowledge. Even if you're planning to go in US, for just to skip on technical exam, in US they still do have their own technical exam, so indirectly you may have to study technical. Then comes the question, should you clear off your papers first then go for flying, or should you do it simultaneously? Now a lot of people may be able to do it simultaneously, fly as well as side by side, try clearing of papers, but I would personally suggest get done with your papers and just focus on your flying, because during flying you do not want to be burdened with what papers to do, because flying is something that should not be that much of a stress. So get done with your papers, then start with flying, because every single flying club in the country does prioritize people who are done with all of them with every single paper. Then comes is, how many hours of flying do you require? Let it be any path you go, like a conventional or a cadet. The minimum required hours according to DGC is 200 hours. That is 185 hours on a single engine and 15 hours on a multi-engine aircraft. Now you can finish it off 200 hours purely on single engine aircraft as well, but it is recommended to get done with 185 single and 15 multi, because airlines have a requirement to have multi-engine endorsed, especially if you're about to fly an Airbus, because it's a requirement by Airbus to get done with multi-engine rating. Now the total cost of conventional training would go around 45 lakhs all the way up to 60 lakhs depending on which flying club you're opting for. Now this is not your final cost. After this you may have to get yourself endorsed with a type rating. Now type rating is something that is required if you're about to fly big jets, for example 320, 737, ATR. Now type rating cost may also vary as to where you're planning to get it done from. It may cost around 13 lakhs or go all the way up to 25 to 30 lakhs. Now 25 to 30 lakhs is, for example, if you're going through an airline. Now airline type rating sometimes goes around 20-25 lakhs, but if you were to go it on your own route via self-sponsoring, it may cost around 15 lakh to 17 lakhs approx, or roughly around 25 lakhs. So the entire budget would go around 80 lakhs. Alright, Now that was about your conventional method. Now the other method is kind of similar to your conventional but not really. The other one is a cadet pilot training program. Now cadet pilot training program has these exact steps, but the only difference is you will be affiliated with an airline. Your airline will be looking after your flying training. So the cost of cadet pilot starts all the way from 85 lakhs and it may go up beyond 1.5 crore as well. Now for cadet, since it is affiliated with airlines, they may have a criteria for you to score above 60%. For example, if you are going through an Air India cadet program, they have a requirement to have 60% above in maths and physics. And it's not like you just go there and sign up. They have their own screening process where they will induct you, they will do a basic tests. Based on that, they will give you an induction. Then even over there, you do have to get done with your class 2, class 1 medical test. Then you have to clear off all your papers, same thing as your conventional method. Then even the flying training, exactly like your conventional, but the only difference is in cadet, at the start, like before you get inducted, like or when you get inducted after the airline screening, they will be providing you with a LOI, that is letter of intent, that may give you a job assurance. Like in conventional, you don't really have any job assurance because after your training you have to start applying for jobs. But in cadet, you may not have to apply for jobs because you are already inducted in an airline, and airline is the one looking after your training, and they will be providing you an LOI, that is letter of intent, to provide your job assurance. Now looking at all of this, like the conventional and the cadet program, you may have realized so far that the cost is very high. It goes all the way up from 45-50 lakhs to 1.5 crore or even beyond that. Now not everyone may be able to afford this much, but if you are really passionate about flying and you want to get into this field, you can always opt for Air Force. You can get into Air Force, then from Air Force, after your short service, you can always transit back to commercial airline. Now the benefit of Air Force is you get to serve your own country, and the other thing is the entire training cost is taken care by Air Force. You do not have to pay them anything. But yes, the selection process is always difficult because they want to have the best out of the best pilots. Now let's talk about various ways and how you can get into Air Force. Like the first being NCC. You can get into Air Force through NCC, that is National Cadet Corps. Now the age requirement is you have to be within the age of 20 to 24 years and you have to be a graduate. That is, in 12th standard you have to have a minimum of 50%, and in graduation you need to be at least a minimum of 60%. And this is specific for unmarried men and women. Now the other way to get into Indian Air Force is by attempting an exam called as NDA, that is National Defence Academy exam, which is conducted by UPSC, that is Union Public Service Commission. Now this exam is held like every 2 times a year in every major cities. Now the requirement for this is you have to be unmarried men and women, and the age criteria is 16.5 years till 19.5 years. And the education qualification is you have to have a minimum of 50% in maths and physics. Now the other way in an Air Force is by appearing for an exam called as FCAT, that is Air Force Common Admission Test. Now the requirement for this test is your age should be within 20 to 24 years. Again, this is for unmarried men and women. The other education requirement for this is you need to have at least a minimum of 60% in maths and physics in your 12th standard. Then you also need to be a graduate with at least 60%. Now there's one more other way to get into Indian Air Force, that is by attempting CDS. Now for this exam is specific only for unmarried men. Women cannot attempt this examination. This is only for unmarried men, and the age requirement over here is from 20 to 24 years. You need to be a graduate with maths and physics in your 12th standard. Now this vacancy or the entry through this test has no percentage marking like the other ones which had 50% or 60%. This one has no percentage criteria. So yes, these are a few ways in which you can become a pilot in India. So yes, let me know if you love this video. Please make sure to like, subscribe and share this video, and if there are any doubts or questions, you can drop it in the comment section. I will make sure to get back through it, or I'll make a new video based on it. Thank you everyone. Take care.